Superposition principle from grade 12. So what does the principle tell? The principle states that the force on any charge due to a number of other charges is the vector sum of all the forces on that charge due to the other charges taken one at a time. So this tells us that the force, this shows what is the force of a charge, okay? The force of a charge due to a number of charges. So if a system is there with so many charges, the force of one charge due to the other charges is what the principle tells us. So what is the charge? It is a vector sum of all the forces that act on that charge. Okay, so how do you understand this principle? Firstly, you consider a system of charges Q1, Q2 and Q3. Then the net force on Q1 by the rest of the charges is the vector sum. So what is a vector sum? Vector sum is basically the resultant. Okay, so when you add two vectors, the resultant is the vector sum. So the net force is the vector sum of the force due to the individual charges. So the force from Q2 and Q3 on Q1 is what this principle is all about. So how do you find that? So we know Q2 will exert a force. So there will be a force in this direction towards Q1 and it will be towards this side. And Q3 will exert a force towards Q1 and that will be along this side. So we can call this force F12. Why 12? Because the force is experienced on charge 1 by charge 2. So F12. And this force is F13 because this is experienced on charge 1 by the charge 3. Okay. Now, how do you take the sum of these two vectors by drawing a resultant? You know, resultant is a line that bisects the angle or the sum of two angles. Now, how do you get this resultant force? Draw two straight lines like this. Construct a parallelogram and the diagonal is the resultant. So this is what we need to find. Then we can express the net force. So what do you mean by net? Net means the overall sum or the total sum of the force. So this is net force, that means a total force. So we can write F1 is equal to F12, that is the force on 1. So we are going to find the net force on Q1. This is what we have to find. So force on 1 is equal to F12 plus F13 etc. to F1n. N is any number of charges. So we consider a triangle. If there are many charges, we use this equation F1n. Now we can also write F1 is equal to. So what is a force on a charge due to another charge? We know F is equal to KQ by R square. If there are two charges, then FQ1 Q2 divided by R square. Then how can we apply it here? That is F12 can be expressed as KQ1 Q2 by R square. What is Q1 and Q2? The same as it is Q1 Q2. So that is K Q1 Q2 divided by. Now what is R over here? Is it just R? No. Let's take the distance as R12 and here R13 and over here R23. So the distance is R12 the whole square. Same like that, K Q1 Q2 divided by R13 the whole square. Q1 Q3, okay? Because this is the force on F13. So this is how you derive an equation for the net force on the charge Q1 in this system. Now, instead of writing this again and again, you can use a symbol from mathematics. And that is sigma. Sigma. Sigma represents the complete sum. So it is basically like net but then a different symbol. So that is sigma. Then you can write F1 is equal to Q1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Where did I get this 4 pi epsilon naught? The value of k is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, so that's how I got this 4 by epsilon, because 1, we can take q1 common. So that is integral of qi divided by r1 I the whole square. Now I is any integer from 2. Why do we take 2? Because there is charge 2. So we are finding the charge of q1, right? So the next number is 2. 2 to n. Where does this n come from? The normal general equation, that is n. So 2 to any number, or the number given. So that is integral of I is equal to 2 to n. And then over here r1 I. Okay. So what is this? This is the direction, unit vector. This is not necessary, but this is also important. So this is the final equation, or the general formula for superposition principle. And this is all about superposition principle. And if this video helped you to understand this principle clearly, please like and subscribe to this channel. And thank you for watching.